noise. I just want to make a short video on just a second. Is that better? How I change strength on a guitar setup, guitar with a Floyd Rose. I have here a PRS for Rich Smith SE Custom 24, as you can see, with a Floyd Rose 1000, locking nuts, all the usual suspects. And first thing you see here, I need to remove my coffee cup so that I can see the Floyd. Let's see if we can get this. It's a nice weather outside, so can you see? Maybe we should try and make this a little closer. So that might be. Aren't they beautiful? My beautiful fake flowers. Oh shit! One fell off. Let's see if this is better. Level this with you might be able to see that this is higher up than this. This needs to be flat. I don't know if it's flat here. Can't quite see it, but it's supposed to be this plate flush with the body. Of course, these will be adjusted to the intonation. The height is perfect already, so I'm not gonna mess with that. I will change the string thickness, so when I say I'm not gonna mess with the string height, I may do anyway. But that will be to try and get the level I have here, and that is mostly because the truss rod might need to be adjusted when I put heavy couch, what's it called? Fuck that, strings on it. So I'll find something to put this camera on so you can see what I do. Just a second, be right back. 3 Allen keys, Allen screws here, 3mm. Take them out, and I always put them on the table in the order they come out. So if they over time should get some grooves down here because of age, they will always be in the same thin groove, thin string, etc. That's much easier. Okay, then I don't know if you can see it. I'll just turn it a bit. I have an old pen with some tape, or I have a toothbrush with a rubber here, and one of those I'm gonna fit in here to make this flush and not to go back into the body. So I'll start seeing how this does. There are a million of ways to make this flush, and everybody has their own way of doing it. This is just mine, like that, so it cannot pull back. We have this, then we take and I put in the batteries backwards, so losing when pressing the top one and tightening, so that's a little. So I don't know the thicknesses and I don't care. I'll put some Slinky Cobalt 11 till 48. On here. So when I've loosened the strings, I just take them around the 15th thread, just about the middle of the string. So doesn't make much difference. It's just easier when I call them up. truss rod plate is a bit loose. That was one end. Then I check my, again, 3 millimeters here, and I open loosen all the bolts here, and just move this out of the way for a while I do this. Just put this in, and then before I start stringing it, I'll check the angle again. For now it's just so it won't go into the back of the cavity, and I think there's some foam in this, and might scratch that, not look too good. And if there's no foam, it can scratch at the lack and such. Wife calling. Home emergency, a broken bike. But I'll just pull out these from the blocks here, and then I just coil it all up together here, so it's nice and tidy. So I'll be back in a while. Okay, so I got my son's bike out going again. Now we have removed the strings, both ends, and next thing I always do is to check these. I'll just the screws or the here, if they are tight, and on most guitars I can use this 10mm deep wrench socket thing. Just nothing too crazy. Just give them a small one here to make sure they're tight. Turn it around and be careful here. See if they stay on. There we go. And I take a pH 1 Phillip head, I think, and just give these same size for Grover and Shala. And I also take these, and again, nothing too crazy. It's a matter of find your preference how loose and tight these are. But I prefer that they are kind of tight and more or less equally tight. This of course has nothing to do with it's a Floyd Rose guitar or not. Like that. If it was a bolt-on, I would tighten the 3, 4, 5 screws, whatever that is here. But this is a set neck, so nothing to do there. This is a virgin, so maybe we should pull off the plastic. So I think that would be a pH 2. I don't know if I have one here. Just a second. Here we go. And we can see what it looks like down. We're also gonna have to adjust the springs down here anyway. Small magnetic thing to store screws. so you don't lose them. This is a nice tight fit. And then 3 springs. And these are, for those who doesn't know, they balance the pull on the Floyd Rose system, so that together with the strings you find the balance on where it's flat. So we pull off the oh, it's shiny now. I'll put it aside as we will need to adjust these. Then we'll take this heart shaped, more or less, plate here, or boomerang shaped. It can be all sorts of shape. Often it's a kind of kidney shape maybe. Some it's just more or less square. I'll keep the screws there. They are probably same size, but just to be sure, keep them in one end of the tray. This is shielded, and don't know if we can see this. I'll just clean up this mess. We have a rather cheap 5-way switch, push-pull, tone control, and I believe it's an alpha pot 500. A means it's logarithmic. Can't see the value on this one, but I believe it's also a 500. And it's been painted with shield painting, graphic painting. It looks, I could take my multimeter and see, but I'm too lazy. But yeah, it looks rather nice for what I would call a budget guitar. Not a cheap guitar, but a budget guitar. Another shiny thing. This one we'll just put back on. Again, no need to mess inside of that today. On these guitars, they use a Korean version of, are they called 8515 or something like that. Some people say they sound like the American ones, some say they don't. I don't care, I like them. They are down low, medium low output, puff style pickups, and I believe I'll keep them in this one because I like them. Sound great. So back on here, and as we might probably gonna need to adjust the truss rod, we'll take a PH1 Phillips head. This is some kind of a bullet, and let's see, I have one from my Gibson Les Paul and one from this one. I don't know if they're the same size, and I don't know if this, I think this is the Gibson one, I'm not sure, but it fits. So we'll just put that aside. Oh, my Gibson one is here, so that was from the PRS. So this one has a small screwdriver. let's see if that's larger, so they don't even fit. So, but it comes. The guitar came with this slotted thing, key thing. So we have removed the strings, made sure that it doesn't go into the bottom, and make sure that we use something that doesn't ruin the lacquer and etc. We have tightened these. We have tightened these. Pulled off the back plates. So now we look at the frets. And if this was a used guitar, I would definitely cover it all up with low-tack blue painter's tape and polish this with I think it's double 4 whatever it's called, 4x0 steel wool. I would cover the pickups. If it was a bolt-on, I would probably pull off the neck before I did this. Then you won't get any magnetic iron material into the pickups. On this I would cover them up with blue painter's tape. But this is a new one and the frets look nice. I will condition the fretboard and I use some ultimate lemon oil. I don't know, I like this one. There's a small cushion here to apply it with. More or less. I'll just give it a good sometimes when it's a used guitar, or I have had the guitar for long, they are very dirty. You don't use this for maple, only use it for non-lacquered fretboards like rosewood, ebony, rosewood lookalikes. I'll just use my finger here to get in to all the edges and grooves, and because that's much easier. And if it was really bad, I would let it soak for a long time, maybe, and wipe it off, maybe give it another one more time to make sure I used it to grease off the fretboard and got enough oil into it. And then just wipe off. I don't even use a brush to get into the edges of the frets. But this is I bought this in December. Between Christmas and New Year, so it's pretty decent. So it just give it a little juice to keep it going. Nothing crazy. See, it always comes a little grease off here. Wiping the bird's asses. Okay, nothing too crazy. Then I take like this to get in and clean out here, dust it off. Again, if it was an old one, I might take this apart and oil it and clean it, and depends on the shape it's in. But this is a nice and new one. It's beautiful. Some little thread from the foil around the pickups. Then before I do this one, mostly because I cannot get it in there when I have my strings on. So, and make sure you use something that doesn't scratch the body, unless you want to scratch it. Do your own relicking. This is of course polyfinish, polyurethane or whatever it's called, so it's not good for relicking. But why would you relic something like this? I will say that much. And I just wipe down there buttons here. I'll get my fat greasy fingers on it in a while again, and then this doesn't matter. But there we go. So I brought cake, banana cake with chocolate. You know that fat people are harder to kidnap, so stay safe and eat cake. I will tune this in standard D, meaning a full step down from standard E. Just clean up a bit here. I'll put this one, and please note that you cannot adjust a guitar lying like this because you get a pull down. So, but so this is only a kind of a preliminary thing. But don't fall. And there are a million ways to do this. And but the first thing we do is we cut off the ball end. Cut off the balls. I have this. I like the G style one. Actually, when I do this, I put this one in here because the T style can be a bit hard to get in with. So, get in with. That was a very Danish way of saying get it in. Like that. And then, actually, forgot something. This is some kind of, it's not Coke. It's some graphite stuff. It's not that necessary on this brand new, but it kind of lubricates. Make sure it doesn't get to, if there are any small craters or whatever, will help those. So, put it here. And we have this small bar here. Sometimes I take it off. Today I leave it on. And this one goes to the right of the screw here. So, not too much to worry about. And now I'll actually make sure that this is kind of flat. I think that's good. And then what I do, I don't know if you can see it, I pull up to the next tuning peg through the hole, and another family emergency, but this time, okay. Let's move on. So I take it up to the next tuning peg or something like that, pull it back, then I go over it one time, I think for the next one I'll remove the camera, get it back under the bar, and where is my string winder? The power pick. There's a rechargeable one now, and I have to remember this one is backwards. So, but I'm an idiot, so I of course turn this the wrong way. And this will be a D. D you are. Okay, we'll do the next one. Again, I cut off the balls. It's funny every time. So take this, and I make sure that the hole here is somewhat in the right direction. Then I go up to the next peg here and pull back, turn it one time over, then I press it down here, pull this one up, and I kind of straighten out the string. Don't know if you can see this, I'll do this just with one hand. And now I again put my power pick where I cannot reach it. There we go. Sometimes I just do like when I have turned it around a bit, pull them together here on the peg around the hole, so it's as tight as possible. And I follow it down into the groove here with my fingers here, kind of control it so it goes down nicely. There should be an A. Oh, we already have a D power chord. Next. And as you can see, you can actually put it to the sides here, so get it as perfectly centered as you can. Makes it much easier much more stable. And these can take a good squeeze because you can squeeze the wines. There's not much extra to squeeze on the plain strings, but on the wound strings there are, so you'll see when I get back in a while I will be able to squeeze it a bit more. You take back in this pen, and of course those who have smart ideas to put in from behind, nothing picky, doesn't have to fiddle with this pen, whatever they put in here, as I do, but I've done this for many years and it works for me. And sometimes these blocks can snap. I must admit I have mostly seen that on Graphic systems. That block seems to be more fragile. I don't know what they use, but it can happen. They can also become flat over time and rusty, and so I always have a bunch of spare lying around. But there was not much extra to tighten here. But sometimes these one strings can they have a little extra too. We need to get this one. And now that I put in the last, the pull from the strings is too heavy, and that's of course I'm pretty sure that I put in heavier strings. So let's take a screwdriver, and I believe PH2 is fine. And I'll make sure that I tighten it more than I believe that it should be, because then we can use the pencil to put it flat. So I'll just loosen all half turn or something. So I'm sure that now it dives back into the bridge here. Yes. Here. So now it's tilting backwards. You cannot see that on there, but it's tilting backwards. Now I'll put in the pencil again, and we'll start the real setup. So now the pencil is being kept in place between the pressure or the pull from the strings and from the springs. So this sits firmly there, and then this one is flat. So I might just take this one off for a while. Sometimes it's nice to have it, but right now I'll just take it out. And then I'll tune this. So now it's in tune. When I pull this one out, the springs will pull it back, so it will be sharp. So I'll just show you here. And now it's almost half between a quarter and a half note high. This is over a note, half note high. So, but we know that when it's in the correct position, it's in tune. So what we will do is we will actually tune it by the springs now. So I'll do the D string first, and then I'll loosen. Simply loosen the springs to tune it. So now both D strings are in tune, and the system is flat. Almost. Just do small adjustments for the neighboring strings. That was a bit too much. Yeah. Right on there. So now the system is flat and the way it should be. Next thing will be the curvature of the neck, to see if we need to adjust the truss rods, and maybe we will need to change the height of the bridge, but we'll see about that shortly. I was just home getting a little bit to eat, and that was very nice. So it's time to adjust the truss rods. Let's see if we can. And that's the truss rod is a stick, a rod in here. It's actually more complicated than that, but when you adjust the screw up from up here, sometimes from down here, sometimes you have to pull off the neck on a bolt-on to adjust it. On many guitars it's up here, and when you tighten it, it goes one way. When you loosen it, it goes the other way. And let me see. What I do is I hold down the last fret, first fret, and see how much. Actually, it's pretty good. I actually don't want to mess with that, but that was, now I would do that. Let's see the string height. I could lower that a bit to do that and not to ruin the screws and the knife edges on the Floyd. We need to slack the strings so you don't have a push on or pull in on the height screws when you turn them. So I'll do that, and I don't think you want to see that, so when it's done, I will probably speed it up, cut it out, something. So actually, to control the strings a bit when loosening them, not losing them, I will put the lug nuts plates here on to some kind of control them. Same if I would take off the bridge completely, I would also do that. And if it was not with if it didn't have a lugging nut, I would take a cable or something and put into to control the strings. Keep all the slack. down by the bridge because that's where we need the slack. See, now we almost have no pressure on from the bridge or the knife edges into the screws, so now we can tighten them a bit to see how flat, and I believe that's is that 3mm also? Yes, it is. Where will we start? Try like one turn like that. Put this one back on. So we got it lowered. Where can we see something? The height here. Maybe I could lower it a little more. Just check that. I think I will live with that for now. It's not too bad. Next thing is intonation, which is, for those who doesn't know, the correct distance from here to here. And to have the correct distance from here to here, that distance have to be the same as that distance. And even though this is flat, this is flat, they don't have, it shall not be flat, and there's probably some physics to that. What we do is we don't do it lying here because that's that will not be correct. We have to do it in plane position. So, but what we do is we see this, and when that's in tune, we check when we press it down. So first we see the whole string, then we see this part, and if this is too sharp, if this is sharp, then this is too short, so we need to move it that way. If it's too low, if it's flat, we need to move it that way, because then it's too long, if I remember correctly. We'll see. Else it's vice versa, and I will tell you that I fucked up. And it's very important when you fret the notes that you don't pull it sharp, but of course there will be something when you pull it down, you will make it stretch it a bit, but you have to go perpendicular into the fretboard. So the string needs to cut it at precise the right angle. First I always go through it a couple of times just to see. DC and A, which would normally be E, D and B. So what we do, again, we have to loosen the string, then we have to loosen this, pull this. Actually you can get a small thing, which I don't know why I don't have. But yeah, never bought one. There's two different, one for Floyd Rose, and most licensed copies, whatever. I don't think they need license anymore, because the patents, most of the patents has run out. And then there's one for the Ibanez Edge systems, which is a little different. But the principle is that you put in something here that you can adjust without using your finger and hoping to move it right. They were all sharp, so if I remember correctly, they should all go that way. So we'll start with the low E. My 3 mil, no, 2.5, yeah. And then I put my fingers to stop it from moving with my nail here. Actually, I moved it out a bit, and I'll try and tighten it there and see if that was... I really should get one of those tools, as I have quite a few guitars with the Floyd Rose. So. Well, we need to move it a bit more. There it is, and I was right about which way to go. Next, that was the C string. And of course, with the Floyd Rose, you need to be sure that you are not putting any pressure or either way on the system while doing this, because then you're doing nothing. Right on. So took off the strings, we tightened the locking, not the locking, the tuners on the front and on the back. We changed the strings. We checked, we oiled the fretboard before we changed the strings. We checked the curvature. We set the heights. We set the intonation. We are almost ready to lock down here. Before we do, what we need to make sure is that, I don't know if we are able to see it if we remove this. The strings must touch the locking nut at 2 points, the entrance and the exit, whatever way you will call it. Here they are sure to, no problem. That's up to the blocks here. But here we need them to naturally do that. So even with these not clamped, they need to go down, and that's why we have this this bar here, and it looks as they are all down, so we don't need to adjust this. Else we would have to tighten this to make sure we get. We don't want too big of a break angle here either, so just enough to make them touch in both positions, both places, front and back of the locking nut. So what we will need now is to stretch the strings as we always do on any guitar. Well, my thing is, what we can do is we can pull it out here. There's no ball if we haven't tightened them enough. So this is a good time just to go through all. And then again, remember, it is possible to break these. Like that, and just to tune it again. Then what I do is I kind of hold here in first fret to make sure I don't break it here, and then kind of go down and retune. And right now I don't need the bar, and it's just going to my fat leg, so and one more. And I try to make sure I don't hold it so tight that I cannot, because I still need to stretch this part also. So I just make sure that I keep kind of the same angle on it here, even if I pull. So and not much change now. Next string. And we're actually doing, I'll say, 3 things when we stretch the strings. We make sure that they are as tight as possible around the tuning pegs, the poles here. We make sure that this part is stretched, and we make sure that the string itself is stretched. So that's kind of what we want. Some people take a rock or something to not to cut into their fingers, but I prefer feel the string while doing it. One thing I forgot to say is that when this is at the right position and having these on the right angle, it should be minimal what they change to the pitch of the tuning of the guitar. The clamping these should have. They might have a little bit, but not much if this is correctly set. So we'll see about that in a short while, because I think we are pretty close. And I just check my fine tuners. I'll just take this one out a bit, and this, and then we'll retune. Like that. So first I'll cut off these, and how I like to cut them. Do whatever you feel. I like to kind of lean against the peg. Normally I get it in the first, just pull it in there so you don't slice your finger on it later. Again, pull it in like that, lean against. The way I do it, there should be no slipping of the strings here, but if I just leave those 3mm or something, and if you can see, I don't have much of, I have like one winding, about one winding below on the strings, and that's all you need. Even if you don't have a locking nut, you don't need more than that. With locking tuners, of course, you need less. Let's get the bar back in. So just give it one more wipe down here after I'm done with my greasy fat fingers all over. So we can see how beautiful this flame veneer is. That's it. Floyd Rose set up perfectly in tune. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to press push and all that good stuff. Thank you. Bye bye.